والله يدعو إلى دار السلام ويهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم.
Bismillah, wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah, wa ba'd. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. Again, welcome, and I'm Omar Jamaykee, and we've been discussing some aspect of affairs that weakens one's iman. And we've been now covering concerning another thing that influences one's iman in a negative way. And this is one being distant, or a person not having a close relationship with the scholars of Islam. So these are the things that can affect one's iman in a negative manner, where one does not have any relationship with the ulama. As the Prophet, peace be upon him, has said that the ulama, warathul anbiya, that the ulama, the scholars of Islam, the bona fide scholars of Islam, they are the ones who are the inheritors of the Prophet. So the scholars, they have this special rank and place, as they are the people who truly fear Allah. Indeed, those who truly fear Allah properly are those who possess knowledge, the scholars. So having a good relationship, referring back to the scholars, looking at their example, taking information from them, it also strengthens one's iman. And when someone turns away from the scholars, does not have any relationship with them, then it weakens one's iman, one's faith. As now one is left to understand Islam upon one's own accord, without others to assist him, and more so those who are skilled in Islam, those who are qualified in Islam. As Allah has mentioned in His book, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلِ الذِّكْرِ, that you should ask, question those who possess knowledge, those who possess knowledge of the book of Allah, and the sunnah of the Prophet, and the knowledge of Islam. So the Muslim has to ensure that he has a love for these people, as they are the ones who have succeeded the Prophet, and it shows that they have a high position in Islam. So the Muslim have to connect himself with the scholars of Islam, those who are qualified, those who understand Islam properly, and also they apply those things that they have learned of Islam. So what they know is what they have applied, and that they are truthful, that they speak the truth, and that they are steadfast and patient in saying the truth, and not to say things to suit anyone in contrary to Islam. So these are the scholars that are looked upon in seeking to strengthen one's iman. And also, if one should leave away these scholars, one is left with those who will misguide us. As the Prophet, peace be upon him, said in the hadith that's in Bukhari and others, that Allah does not remove ilm away from the people completely and abruptly, but He removes of knowledge from the hearts of the people by the death of the scholars. So knowledge is removed by the scholars being removed, and this is by way of their death. Until the people, they are left without scholars, and they take ignorant leaders, and when they ask of these ignorant people affairs of Islam, these ignorant leaders, they misguide those questioners, and also they themselves are misguided. So Islam, it ensures that a person has to be keen concerning going back and referring to the scholars, benefiting from them, as they are the ones who guide to the help in guiding to the right path, and breaking this connection. It leaves one to seek from those who are ignorant, that would lead one astray, lead one away from the correct path of Islam. So the Muslim have to ensure that in protecting his iman, he has a good connection of those who are the proper scholars of Islam in every time, and especially those who are the proper ones in the time that he is living. So he can benefit from their knowledge, benefit from their rulings, based upon proper sources of Islam. And with a person, he has to also be able to distinguish those scholars who are correct, those scholars who follow a correct method of Islam, and not those who are upon misguidance. As yes, you find some scholars who their information needs to be reviewed correctly. the method they follow is not correct. And yes, there's also those, by the grace of Allah, who are upon the correct way. So these are the ones that we should try to connect ourselves with, wherever they may be upon this earth, as they are the source of guidance after the death of the Prophet, peace be upon him. So the Muslim have to ensure this connection is made. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, that He has raised in rank, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised in rank those who believe. And also He has raised in a higher rank those who possess knowledge. And those people who are raised above all others they are the scholars. So this connection must be made between the people and the scholars, in ensuring that we understand Islam correctly, so we can raise our iman and worship Allah correctly, and also we are aware of those things that is not in accordance to Islam, so we can stay away from these things. But this, it requires people who are qualified, people who are sincere to Allah, and people who speak the truth regardless, not speaking and giving rulings that is in line with those who may have a corruption in their Islam, those who want to follow their own desires. So these so-called scholars, they give them rulings that are suitable to them. So the Muslim has to ensure that he has a good connection with the scholars of Islam, so as he can have clarity regarding his religion. And he has been directed by Allah, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلِ ذِكْرِ, that one should ask, one is commanded to ask those who know, as this will help to increase one's knowledge. And seeking from those who do not know will only lead to misguidance. As the hadith of the Prophet mentioned, that they will take for leaders those who are ignorant, and they'll ask them regarding Islam, and they'll be misguided. And this misguidance, it is a thing that causes one iman to decrease. When asking those who are not qualified, those who are not suitable to give answers, we receive answers that are not the proper answer. So the person, he falls into misguidance. And falling into misguidance, it decreases one's iman. So the Muslim have to ensure that he is able to distinguish the correct scholars from those who are not, and benefit from those who are the ones who are upon the proper way. So he may have a clarity regarding his Islam, as this is the objective of the life of a Muslim, to practice Islam in the correct manner, seeking to strengthen his iman, and also seeking to know those things that is of disobedience to Allah, so one may avoid them. But if one was to choose and to ask those who are not qualified, then one may fall into things that are not of Islam, things that are acts of misguidance. And with this, one iman becomes weakened. One start to gravitate towards act that seems in line with one's desire. And one will also ask from those who will give him ruling that will suit one desire, and more so one vain desire that is in accordance to things that are disobedience to Allah. So one has to ensure that one's connection is made to scholars who are properly qualified. And as the Prophet mentioned the hadith of Hudayfa, when he asked concerning the good, when he mentioned that you find that most people will ask the Prophet, peace be upon him, concerning those things which is good and beneficial. But also Hudayfa would ask of things that are evil, so he does not fall into them. Then the Prophet told him there will come a time when you're going to have callers to the abwab, to the gates of the hellfire. And these are people from the Muslim nation, who are people who are scholars that are not qualified, calling people to actions that decreases their iman and allow them to fall into sins. So these are another thing, another aspect of those things that weakens one iman. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.